Hey, yeah, I wanted to. Here we go again with that fan. Oh my goodness! I'll tell you what. Um, this light um is connected to the fan, and there's, most bathrooms. I mean, I was in the bathroom for a minute. Most bathrooms they have two switches, one for the light, one for the fan. This one has one switch, and that fan is pretty loud. I'll just say that. But I just think I thank God for a roof over my head. But that is just that fan is loud, and so I always have to make sure I have that off. Um, Otherwise, you'll just hear the fan and nothing else. So I wanted to basically give a big shout out to people that are living life on their terms. You know, you have been told you suffer from some kind of health condition, um, and you've been told how to treat it. And sometimes the way that you treat it isn't always with Western medicine, um, God forbid, but you are treating it the way that you see fit. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I noticed something. I mean, I'm pretty sure that um, this these two people kind of look at my profile from time to time, and that's okay. I mean, I there was an argument, not really an argument, just I don't know. It was just kind of being tagged on Messenger over some political stuff. And let me just say this is that I don't really care anymore. I mean, I don't. I mean, I used to be part of the political activist kind of stuff crowd, and I don't do that anymore. Reason being is there is just stuff on both sides I just think is absolutely stupid, and I don't want to deal with it. I mean, if we want to get down to reality, okay, Trump is not going to be sitting there at the dinner table and saying, I really like, I really, I mean, let's just throw a name out there, I'm tempted to throw a name of somebody that just, sent me a whole bunch of stuff on Messenger I didn't want to see. Um, but I'm not going to do that. That was way back in 2020, and I mean, but I mean, he's not going to be sitting there saying, that Mark. I mean, I really like him. He's well, especially if it was Mark Zuckerberg, he wouldn't because I think there's some issues with some things that he well, I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg probably doesn't run the whole Twitter thing, but I know that he's made some, or does he? I don't know. I don't know. The other social media platforms I don't really follow that much. But, I don't think that I don't know if he's real big on Mark Zuckerberg, but I'm just throwing that name out. But what he's not going to be sitting there, and saying, well, that Mark, I really like Mark, he's a good guy, you know. Uh, I mean, just a random Mark out in, say, um, the conservative states, Idaho. Oh, he's a great guy, and I'm going to do this for him, and he's not going to talk about you in a fond way. Personally, I mean, really, I mean, and either is Mr. Biden. He's not going to sit there and, well, gee, I'm real glad that Kathy voted for me, and oh, I'm going to do this for this individual. No, And it's so sad how attached we get to politicians that, I mean, they're not going to address us personally. Very, very seldom. I mean, I remember watching this rally where, and I cannot remember. Sometimes I can't remember specifics, but there was this African American family that had been um, the victim of violence. They had, I can't really go into detail because we're censored. And Trump was awarding them. Okay, so he addressed them personally, but on a regular basis, it's not going to happen. you know so that's why I really don't, I mean, I don't really get into politics that much, but that's not what this is about. I'm just saying, this particular individual, we had our differences, you know, but right, I want to just bring up some common ground with some people. I don't care where you're at, as far as your political beliefs. You know, we all go through different illnesses, and they made a comment is that they said, if I am, and here I am having to censor myself, I hate this, I really hate this, but um, my ministry is part of it, and also we all have to watch what we say on this social media that is very like the Brady Bunch now. you know but this is what this person said: I have quit taking my psychiatric meds. I've quit taking all of them, and if I'm an arse and you don't like me, you think I'm a mean-hearted person, and or you don't like my personality, that's just how I am, and you're going to have to suck it up, buttercup, because I'm not changing my personality. And and he went even further to say, I am not going to take medication that hurts me physically and, you know, might even be my demise, just so you're not offended. And I thought that that was very uh, uh, it shows that, that's an enlightened person to say, hey, this is how I am. You know how I am. I can be a little bit difficult at times, a lot. But I am not going to change it up so that you can feel better while I'm wasting away. And and I think that that is where we need to be. I cannot believe that people, and it's not just mental health. I mentioned this earlier. Is like, hey, I am fine with the way I am. I'm a little chunky. I'm not as big as I used to be. You should have seen me at almost 300 pounds. Um, I might share my before and after, but I'm, curvy, and I'm happy being curvy. But every single time, now it's turned into more of a money thing where people are just looking to make a buck. I don't think that they're really offended per se at the way you look. They're just seeing you as an opportunity, and it's the last thing I want to see is a friend request, which I know eventually is going to end up to me, uh, to my messenger being blown up. And I get on Facebook and I see this friend request and all over the person's timeline. I don't know this person from squat. I don't know them. I don't know them from, I don't know them from squat. I never met them anywhere. Don't know them. Don't live in the town they live in. Don't even live in the state that they live in. but they're going to send me a friend request, and all over their timeline is before and after pictures and tape measures around their waist. And if you want to live like that, man, go ahead. I just don't have time for it, really. In the wintertime, especially during the holidays, I eat what I want. And if you want to eat a bunch of cauliflower mess, crust, yuck stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with Thanksgiving, you go ahead. If you want to eat a whole bunch of rotten stuff that has full of NutraSweet that is gonna, could give you, and what is really funny is some of them, they're so against tobacco products, and all the NutraSweet that they eat and things of that nature are going to give them cancer faster than any tobacco products. But they're going to market all of this garbage, and they're going to say how healthy they are, and they're going to sit there and they're going to try to fill their stomachs up with coffee, their weight loss coffee. Then they are desperately craving, they're desperately needing food, and they're going to say they're healthy, and really it's a gimmick, and it's a money making thing. But I've also gone through some of this stuff with family. I mean, I remember preparing my coffee, and a certain someone said, well, honey, it must be a special occasion for you to be putting creamer in your coffee. And I let it go because I love that person, and there's no sense. I mean, I let it go. But I am not kidding. When there was a place called Uncle Jim's, and my whole family, we gathered together, and um, one family member congratulated me that I had lost so much weight on a starvation diet. And I literally sat there and had nothing but water and a salad and was being congratulated. That was my first bill of the day, kid you not. And when I got up from that table, I was about ready to pass out. And I was congratulated. And so to me, I mean, you just all stay on your fad diets. I grew up with that mentality. I grew up with women believing that had to have a little waist just like this, and I mean, my great grandparents didn't were not like that at all. They were eaters, and they're like, man, when you come to this house, you better eat. We don't deal with that, but as far as some of the other people in my family, they really, really body shamed. And so, I'm just saying, some of them, not all of them, but some of them did body shame. And I have no time in my life for that. When I was in Boise, I was very, uh, very, very active, and I learned how from a friend to have a nutritious diet. She taught me how to make. But this is before I left for Boise. But she taught me how to make gluten-free tortillas. She taught me. She took a class at Health and Welfare, and she taught me how to make all of that. And I had another friend that taught me the same thing as well. Personally, I don't like the fat bomb stuff that, the idea is getting yourself full, and that you'll get full on the fat and then you won't eat as much. But for me personally, I mean, I tried that. My cholesterol went sky high. I mean, it went sky high. And so that didn't work for me. But, when during the summertime, I plan to limit my carbs. I plan to, that's the time that I plan to get back on track. But if I get back on track, if I decide not to get back on track, that is up to me. I, but that's when I usually get back on track, is the summertime. And I even did, I mean, sometimes I feel too like if it gets too overboard, and I and I know that the pound's been creeping up, then I'll go on a walk. And when I do walk, I walk a long distance. I go on my power walks. I went on a power walk yesterday, and you know, I just thought it was funny because I was walking to power walking to, like, boy, people probably think that this is pretty odd if they saw it, but um, power walking to Marilyn Manson, that my favorite one, "You're So Vain," that song, I love it. The way that his rendition of it was good. When I got to the beautiful people, oh, yeah, I couldn't listen to that. I just couldn't. It's just too. Some of his songs are okay, but some of them are just too dark. Yeah, and I can't. But just my music combination, you know, was kind of funny. But power walking to that, and Poppy and Britney Spears and Drake, and but anyway, I do what I need to do. And when I was into all of that weight loss stuff, and I did it the right way. I did it the right way. If I would have kept it up, it probably would have stayed off, but it is hard to stick to that as your lifestyle forever. I bought these supplements that, they're called Garcinia Cambogia, and it's natural. It's not a bunch of chemicals you put in your body. And I bought that, and it really worked. I mean, it was the first thing that ever worked for me. But I didn't sit around either. I walked. I mean, some of y'all need to get real. Is that if you don't add walking, if you don't change your diet, you take all the stuff you want to take, it's not going to come off. But when I was doing that, and then I offered, when back in 2018, I offered, to sell some of the stuff that was working for me. And I also made a little, well, it was a cleanse with the vinegar, and I put raw honey in it, and I can't remember the other things. But along with that, I recommended kombucha. And I got a warning that or no, it was a notification. We had to take this off because you can't market dangerous supplements. Okay. Well, so my question is, you call it a dangerous supplement. It was really those, they were capsules, and they were really not, when you get right down to it, they really weren't supplements. They didn't have any chemicals in them. And it was nature. It was a plant, Garcinia cambogia. It was a plant, and I read some of the other ingredients, and it really didn't have a whole lot besides that. And so I think the other thing it had maybe willow bark in it, but that can, if I can remember right, that treats anxiety, I think, and a lot of eating has to do with anxiety. But I was told, well, you can't do that. But then they allowed the selling coffee to lose weight. Isn't that a drug? So, but I just decided not to, because I got down to a size 12, and I was pretty trim back in 2018. But I decided not to market that at all, and not because because if I was to get down to that again, and if that was going to be something I pursued, it would definitely, I'm not changing it up. I'm doing what works for me, and I'm not going to follow a double standard. Is when people are selling coffee and other, I mean, weight loss gimmicks that are actually very dangerous. Then why should I be told that I have to change it up? I won't. And so I thought, well, this is going to have to be a personal effort of mine if I ever decide to do it again, because and it wouldn't be on social media, because I would want people to succeed, not fail, and not to just have them buying my product over and over, and just, because a lot of times they'll buy it and it doesn't work for them, and the person will say, well, you're just not doing it right, and they're not taking accountability that their product, there, I said it, but they're not taking accountability for it. They're going to blame you and make you feel like a failure and say that you're just not working the program when their product is not good. And see, I don't like to, that's a rip off. I don't like to rip people off. And the other part about it is that I wouldn't want to, there'd be no tape measures in my program. you know I wouldn't be making you measure yourself. I wouldn't be having you weigh yourself, unless you wanted to, and unless you wanted to show your progress, because that gets people in a bind. My bottom line would be, how do you feel? Do you feel better? And if you don't feel better, then any weight you lose, it doesn't matter. You can be skinny and just sick as can be, and believe me, I've been there. So, this is basically a thumbs up to anybody who goes against, Western ideas on how to take care of their health. Because if we, I'm not saying that all, I'm not telling you not to take your medicine. I'm not telling you that, I mean, if it's taken right and you don't overdo it, that it's not going to help you. But what I am saying is that if we were completely right in the way that we were handling our health in the US here, I mean, uh, we wouldn't be right where we're at right now. We wouldn't, we wouldn't have all of the issues that we're facing right now if we were right where we needed to be. And we haven't been, yeah, this pandemic has hit everybody, but before the pandemic, you look at other countries, you looked at people from other countries, and boy, I'll tell you what, they're a lot healthier than we are, you know. And I mean, I've even dated some people that they have come here, and they're like, what in the world? I come to this place, but did I make the right choice? Everybody's sick here, you know. And he basically said he attributed it to canned goods, to everything being processed. And so, then you get to the physical aspect of it, and with sleep apnea, and with the things that, I face. And that's just an example. Um, you know, and I need to make a batch of that right now. I need to, now that I'm thinking of it, I need to make a batch of that eucalyptus tea, because, you know, that is that is not a popular Western remedy. It's not, they would like you to be hooked up to a machine the rest of your life. And, before I even do that, I'm going to try everything else. Um, but going against, what the norm is, and even if it turns into what it turned into, oh, back in October, where I go to the crisis center for depression, and they tell me, oh, it was just the jerk running it that night. He says, well, you can't be here because it's too much of a risk. And I even tell him, look, I have mild sleep apnea. My doctor's okay with me taking nasal spray. Oh, no, no, you have to be on a CPAP. Nothing says I have to. And the fact is that it wasn't passed for me. It wasn't, I was on a CPAP without the clearance for Medicaid. And the Sleep Institute even said, but they, but see, now Dr. Blad, he said you didn't have clearance for Medicaid. But both doctors even said, well, the Sleep Institute, they prescribed the CPAP, which they shouldn't have done. But they didn't know either that I was just scared, because I was told that it was going to be to my demise. So I went ahead and got the CPAP. They didn't know that, but they told me, they said it's just mild sleep apnea. You don't have a real need for it. And Dr. Blad, he says, you didn't pass it anyway. With your claustrophobia, you can't even use it. He says, I don't know why they won't approve the bridge for you. Well, it's because of cost. It's because of cost. So, you have to be smart. You have to, if it's an alternative you need, and that's what I do, is the eucalyptus, and I've also got some vapor rub that I put up here so I'm breathing, clearing me out. Then do it. But, hats off to the people that would, you want to try out the Eastern methods, all of the herbal remedies that you can try, and even some of the exercises like meditation, yoga, you know, you want to try something else, because all this Western stuff has not, you know, it's not worked for you. And so you're going, and sometimes it's just basically saying, look, um, you know, I am who I am. If I'm a little bit difficult to deal with, you know what? These chemicals are killing me. And they are. I was on Kalypta for a few days, and I was just, it knocked me off my, oh my goodness. I was sick all the time, nauseous, sleeping all the time, always nauseous, couldn't get anything done because I was always so tired, always so sick. And if I can't, I mean, the doctors didn't really don't know what to do, because they were like, we've tried you on everything. The only thing you seem to be okay on is Depakote. And it's not only that, but some of the other medicine too has given me heart rhythm issues. And when I quit taking it, it stopped. So then some of the doctors, like my the doctor Hiram, he doesn't doubt what I say. He takes into account what I say. My the other new doctor, he takes into account what I say. But some of them, I mean, they're just wanting to talk you out of it. Oh no, you didn't feel that. You didn't feel that. Oh yes, it's you and your body, but you didn't feel that. And so I really give credit to people that you think for yourself. It's your body. Um, you're, it's your temple, and you decide what goes into it. Be blessed.